Hi, I'm Sal Mercagliano, Associate Professor of History at Campbell University in North Carolina. I'm a former merchant mariner and an adjunct professor of maritime industry policy at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. And welcome to this episode of What's Going on in the Suez. It is April 12th, and we have three things that have gone on over the past weekend that have really developed in terms of the story regarding Ever Given and the Suez Canal. So let me share my screen with you right here, and we'll talk about each of them. So number one, Ever Given is still in the canal. Let me move that out of the way there. She is still in the canal right there. Come back here for a second. Sorry about that. We still see her there standing by. There she is right there, sitting there. We know, for example, that the Egyptians have basically leveled that demand that they're going to hold the vessel here for basically $1 billion. That's what they're saying. They're not going to let the vessel go. They're not going to let the crew go. And nations have the ability to arrest vessels. Vessels operate actually in a very unique way, that they can be treated as basically a person. And basically what the Egyptians are basically about to do is arrest the vessel, hold the vessel. Again, they're claiming $1 billion worth of damage. Now, there's an investigation ongoing by the Suez Canal Authority. There are multiple investigations going on by the insurance companies, by the Panamanian Registry, by the American Bureau of Shipping, you name it. But the Suez is going to complete their investigation first, probably within the next day or two. And we'll see what they come up with a cause. And I'm pretty sure they're going to blame it right on Ever Given. So Ever Given will find itself stuck here for the foreseeable future. The impact of this is being amplified quite a bit. There's a story here in the Financial Times from Maersk Lines. Maersk is the biggest operator of container ships in the world. If you look at terms of ship lines and what they operate, this is from the Review of Maritime Transport 2020, put out by UNCTAD. You'll see right there, Maersk operates nearly 18 million TEU capacity vessels, representing about 18% of the world's fleet. They are also in an alliance with Mediterranean Shipping Company, MSC, the 2M Alliance, which gives them a substantial control of over a third of the world's container fleet. Maersk is really one of the big behemoths that's out there. Maersk, you will know their vessels when you see them, big kind of light blue vessels, Maersk Lines on the side. Maersk is the masters of public relations and PR. In many ways, the rise of the ultra-large container vessels is a derivation from Maersk. In the early 2011 period, they introduced this vessel right here, the Triple E. The Triple E was really the big behemoth on the street. She came in at just over 18,000 containers. She didn't peak at 20,000 yet. Matter of fact, these are not by any means the largest. They built 20 of these in a span of 2.5 years. It was crazy to build 20 vessels in 2.5 years. But their size was tremendous, 400 meters, same size as Ever Given. Just did not have the internal capacity that Ever Given has. One of the reasons is they have actually dual engines, twin props, something unique here for the Maersk Triple E's. They built a follow-on, the enhanced Triple E's, 11 of them. They are over 20,000 boxes. But Maersk really kind of kicked this off. And Maersk Lines has always been a big indicator. They're also a master of, as I said, public relations. When they launched the Triple E, they did a huge rollout of these vessels. There was a multi-part Discovery Channel series done on this. And then my favorite thing they did, because Maersk is in Denmark, is they rolled out a Lego version of the vessel, which is I've showed you before. I have a copy. I have this, so you can get your Maersk Triple E on this. But the thing I would mention about this is that the Danes, which is what Maersk Lines is a Danish company, do not sound the alarm for any good, without cause. They're not people who are going to get excited. And Maersk is always planning and thinking ahead. And so when Maersk sits there and warns about this has only begun, probably true. They're talking about it's going to last until the second half of May. As you see right here, Lars Mikhail Jensen, the head of their Global Ocean Network, went on the record with Financial Times. And as he says right here, it's not the case. Only afterwards the work really starts. The backlog arrives either to Europe or Asia around the same time, and you get the congestion. We will see ripple effects continuing into the second half of May. Now, I should note something here. Maersk doesn't say anything unless it benefits Maersk. And so one of the things that will benefit Maersk right now is these increased freight rates. And as freight rates increase, this is the beneficiary of these operating companies. So Maersk is telling the world that, listen, freight rates are about to go up. Bad for you, it's good for us. And you see that opening. You see right here, Maersk has reopened short-term cargo bookings from Asia after suspending them in the wake of the crisis. They turned everything off. You couldn't book cargo out of Asia. They said that basically we have to catch up, and therefore we're going to stop booking cargo, which means now that they reopened it, it's at a higher rate than it was before. Goes on here to talk about that the blockage, along with the fresh wave of the virus, could basically push back a return to calmer operations. So we're not going to see anything normal in freight going to Europe, at least until the end of May, early June. And that's a pretty bold prospect, I think, that we're seeing right there. And I think that's probably true. The second story here, if we go on to marine traffic, was this. A vessel showed up next to Ever Given, and it's this vessel right here. Xingruko. I think I'm saying that right. I apologize. My Mandarin isn't what it used to be. She is a heavy lift vessel. Xingruko came into the Suez and anchored in the Great Bitter Lake. As you see here, let me see if I can give you better imagery here of it. There's some photos of the vessel here. She's what's known as a heavy lift vessel. Good image right here. She is the gray vessel. The red vessel is what she's carrying. She has these big, huge, long, flat deck here. That's forward. That's the bow right there. You can see the anchor right there. They're the bridge wings. This is the front of the vessel, the bow. This is the stern. And then this huge, massive, flat deck for carrying cargo right there. She's a heavy lift vessel. What she'll do, the reason for these towers on the stern here, is she will ballast down, actually submerge the vessel, go all the way up to here if she has to, and float on, float off vessels. Sometimes these vessels are called flows, where you float on, float off. Does a lot with drilling platforms, heavy platforms that we see right there. This is her, but it's basically empty right there. Fairly actually common type vessel. We've seen them used in terms of the United States. We've unfortunately seen these vessels used to move U.S. Navy warships when they're damaged, most recently the McCain and the Fitzgerald. We've seen them used in history. Unlike what some people have been saying, this vessel is not there to lift Ever Given. Number one, she cannot lift Ever Given. She is not of the size and capability to lift. There's no vessel that can lift a vessel the size of Ever Given. Let's be clear about this. She's just too big. Ever Given at 400 meters, 1,300 feet, would not be able, you'd break the back of this vessel. You would never be able to lift her with it. What she was here to do, and what she did do, was deliver a vessel, and it's this vessel right here. A new dredge came in. Let's see if I can get it here. There she is. The Mohab Mamish, delivered out of Rotterdam. A new dredge, ironically, was delivered. We know this because of this. This was a story back in May where Admiral Osama Rabie, who's the head of the Suez Canal Authority, witnessed the launching of the newest dredger, the Mohab Mamish. She was basically delivered just the other day to it. Matter of fact, this morning they had a big christening ceremony for the vessel. It was on the Suez Canal Authority Facebook page, and you can see it on there. She was on there. This is actually the arrival of her coming in. This is on YouTube. Suez Canal loves this music in the background. But this is Mohab Mamish coming in. You can see her coming into the canal right there. for delivery. They went into the Great Bitter Lake because there's areas deep enough for her there to basically ballast down and float off the dredge. And they were able to do that, float her off, and sail her up to her berth for her acceptance and arrival. So she's not there to offload Ever Given. She doesn't have cranes. She doesn't have the ability really to carry containers on board or secure them in any way. She was there just solely for that. This is the actual dredge right here. This is what she looks like. Very similar to some of the dredges that were used on Ever Given to get her out. There was a very similar dredge used to dredge out the bow of the vessel that was there. And again, the Suez is always dredging. You can continually fighting the silt in there to get the dredge, to get the spoil out. And so they took delivery of this vessel. Again, it was built up in the Netherlands. It was loaded in Rotterdam and just came down to the Suez. They've been talking about that. You can see that's the dredge right there. It kind of burrows in almost like a drill. And then out the back there, you'll see the dredge comes out, the spoil and everything. And this is one of the things that they do is kind of move the spoil to the side. It's one of the reasons why the eastern bank of the southern end of the canal was shallower than the west side where the main channel was, so they can dump that spoil. Very sophisticated dredges, a lot of mechanics, a lot of engineering goes into it, very expensive vessels to build, to operate and maintain. It's not as simple as just going out and digging as unfortunately some people tend to think. So that was the arrival. That's why the Chinese heavy lift ship was there, not to move Ever Given. Again, Ever Given at 1,300 feet long would not even, would literally, just a portion of that vessel would be on the back deck of that Chinese heavy lift ship. She can't handle it. The last thing I want to mention is John Conrad and I started a weekly little talk. We do it over the weekend and publish it on Sundays on G Captain. We've got our first episode out yesterday, kind of a weekly recap. He and I kind of just talk about what are the big stories in the news. So if you're interested in that, it's over at the G Captain website. It's over at the G Captain YouTube page. Feel free to take a look at it. I'm going to be doing, again, daily updates and as information comes in. Working on a bigger story for the week. One big, always I want to kind of have one big feature for the week, and working on that. Not exactly 100% sure what I want to do yet, so I'm in the process of putting that together. So thanks for tuning in. Again, if you have the opportunity, subscribe to my channel, give it a thumbs up, hit the little bell so you'll know when new videos are posted. You'll get the little warning about it. Share it on your social media platforms so it can get out. I appreciate all the follows. I appreciate all the likes. Appreciate all the comments. Hopefully audio is improving. Not sure why my home audio is having problems. I haven't had an issue with it before, so trying to reboot it and reset it. And I'm using my office here today, and I'm using my office mic right here on my camera. So hopefully this is coming through loud and clear. So once again, I'm Sal Mercogliano. Thanks for tuning in.